You may have never thought about this, but colleges are actually like casinos. They are very similar to casinos. First of all, shout out to Thorge on his video. Did I waste my life getting 2 degrees? I'll link it down below in the description. So shout out to him. I went through his comment space and I found this comment. Colleges and casinos are very similar. And there were a few replies to it. Might have made more money putting everything on black, to be honest. It's a funny joke, actually, if you think about it. A gamble, yes. They are exactly the same. All right. And you guys might be wondering how that is the case. Well, let's get into it. So, first of all, you are gambling on employment outcomes, right? You have students paying hundreds of thousands of dollars hoping to secure a career in their field of study, not hoping to get a job at McDonald's, catering, or some warehouse, a career in their field of study. Now, most job opportunities are actually gained from connections, referrals, and networking, not just because you have a degree. Meaning that these outcomes are not given. They are not guaranteed. Although they should be, given the amount of money people spend on colleges. Like in 4 years, people spend 200,000, $250,000. So recent college graduates faced notable underemployment in one quarter. 41.8% were underemployed. Working roles that don't require a college degree. And they are working these jobs like McDonald's, warehouses, and etc. just to pay off their student loans, which didn't even benefit them in the first place. Other reports estimate as much as 50% underemployment initially after graduation. Now, that is pretty bad. Like when you run a business and you can't even provide good service to half of your customers. I mean, I get that they don't care because people keep on enrolling, signing up, coming in, and then they always have a long list of students, and nobody's really saying no to this or that enough is enough. So, my second point here is the fact that the house always wins. These colleges, they are profiting regardless of whether you get that job or not. You see, because these universities, they collect the tuition up front at the beginning of every semester. They are not as incentivized to make sure that you get placed in the career of your choice simply because they've already got your money, whether they find that career, help you get that career or not. Like they're not incentivized to go out there, make some connections for you, maybe create a work-based learning program where every student is placed at an internship where people are getting practical experience. They are not incentivized to do any of that since they've already got your money. And if you think about it, like if you run a store and you pay your employees their entire week's salary in advance of them even coming to work on Monday, then you can bet that most of those employees won't show up for work since they've already got the money. You've already paid them, and they have that money now regardless of whether they show up to work or not. It is pretty much the same thing that is happening here with these colleges. And if you guys saw last week, I made a video on how we need to hold these universities accountable for providing worthless degrees. For teaching subjects that have no market relevance. Especially that new class at Harvard. Oh my God. And that new professor. It's crazy. And guys, let's not forget that since these colleges charge more money than people have, like people give up all of their money plus more to go to this college, in a sense that they are taking out student loans which they cannot declare bankruptcy on. So then you would pretty much have to keep on paying for the life of the loan until the balance hits zero, or for the rest of your life, even if you didn't gain what you would have hoped to gain by going to college in the first place. So the U.S. student borrowing has ballooned into trillions of dollars. So there's a little discrepancy, well, a big discrepancy in the information that you would get as a prospective student at 17, 18 years old looking for a college to go to after graduating high school, and versus the data set of information that they have that they are not telling you. So they are pretty good at marketing. I must give them that. In fact, they are better at marketing than providing the services which they are supposed to provide. So colleges have all this information on outcome, labor market data, but they only choose to tell you half of the story, not even the full story. So many students don't even have the transparency about job prospects by major. When I was going to PACE, they did a good job saying, oh, this student got a job at JP Morgan, this student got a job at Goldman Sachs, but they didn't say how that student got a job, whether their family had connections there. And they tried to make it sound like it's the average student's experience. But even if it was, which it doesn't sound like the average student's experience, but even if it was the average student's experience, that doesn't mean that it's going to be your experience. So here is a review on Pace University from 7 years ago. Pace is expensive, doesn't help the students getting internships, and when the students get one on their own, Pace takes the credit. After graduating, the students don't get a job. One of their alumni just got a good job, and due to she owes money, they don't give her transcripts and are retaining her title. It's not possible for PACE to help when students really need help. Is it not possible to set a plan of payments? Exactly, yes. This is one of the points that I was trying to give a mention to. The fact that they take the credit and they say, oh, our student is working here and working here, but they're not giving like the scatter plot of data. You don't have like the highs, lows, medians, averages, interquartile ranges, right? You don't have any of that data because I guess if you did, then you probably wouldn't choose that college. So they're only telling you half the information, the good part about it, but not the good, bad, ugly, so you can make a very well full informed decision on which college you choose. And for the price point as well. Like, you can compare and contrast and say, maybe I'm better going off to CUNY or SUNY. It's much less, same results, right? But they don't want you to know that. But now, even if you choose a degree in a STEM-related field, computer science, and etc., people are still having a hard time finding jobs in those STEM-related fields. And even Harvard has wrote an article trying to sound so smart, telling people that computer science, mechanical engineering, and all those stuff became worthless degrees where you'd have a hard time finding jobs in October of 2025, when people would have already known this information. And yes, once again, even if you gain that degree, you completed study in that field, it still wouldn't guarantee you a job in your field, and you still have to pay as well. Sunk cost fallacy. You keep playing. So you're already like deep in debt, balls deep in debt. And maybe you're a freshman, maybe you're a sophomore, junior, senior, and you feel like, oh, I can't give up now. I can't quit now. Even if the classes are asynchronous, meaning that the professor just uploads the learning materials to Blackboard or classes, and you have to learn all of that stuff on your own. They don't even come to Zoom to teach classes. And you might have to hire a tutor to do the job that the professor should be doing. Even if that is the case, then you wouldn't want to feel like a quitter and drop out and etc. And then let's just say that if you did drop out, then okay, you can't expect to get the career in your field of study, and then people are going to be like, yeah, of course you didn't get the career, of course you can't get a job, you dropped out. But now that you've graduated, like, what you guys have to say about that? Graduated, 3.33 GPA, bachelor's degree. What you guys have to say about that, other than try harder? Seriously, ask that question to anyone who defends the college, to anyone who makes it sound like it's your fault that you can't get a job, even though you have followed all of the instructions given to you. And now, like, you guys are having the stress of someone who's trying to start their own business, and you'd have to have the grit and perseverance of a business owner or inventor. And you thought that going to college would be the safe path, going to college and getting that job. It was marketed as that safe path as well. And now that's proving to be false. Well, you know what, guys? At least someone like me and Thorge, along with many other YouTubers, are here to change that narrative. It will take some time to change that narrative, but believe me, the narrative will change. Oh, guys, don't even get me started on if you want to switch careers in the middle of your college experience. Oh, then you're going to be adding a couple of more years. It's going to be financially punishing. You'd be older by the time you get out of college and everything. also tortured more since you're staying there longer. Don't even get me started on that. And here's my fifth point about this. High rollers get better odds. Inequality in access, right? So, I don't know if you guys ever been to a casino. You have people who spent like tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars there, or people who booked the penthouse suite in those casinos and the casinos hotels in Vegas and everything. Those guys, like, they get a private gambling room. They're only around people rich like themselves, right? And they get more special treatment in those casinos as well. So it's pretty much the same thing with colleges. Like, wealthier and well-connected students are benefiting from legacy admissions, internships, and referrals. Internships meaning like their family probably already has like a business, and their business has been well running 20 years before that student has even been to college, right? Maybe before that student was born, their family business was running. They might be the third, fourth heir of the business as well. So since the business is owned by their family, of course they're going to get internships, right? And they can always move up within that business or transfer to a different business if they wish, since they would have already had that work experience, that practical experience that you don't gain in the classroom, that the colleges should be providing for the new and improved prices. Did I just say improved prices? Well, those prices are the only thing that's really changed about college, if you think about it. Other than maybe the college getting richer, maybe they own more buildings, more real estate, their stock portfolio is bigger. But nothing that truly benefits the average student. And more referrals, yes, because they're in those private rooms. And without these networks, many people would often struggle having the same degree and maybe even having more skills than the people than the high rollers there. So in the comment space, I already know I'm going to get hit with some objections, some rebuttals, some people trying to invalidate my points. Guys, if you have a rebuttal that I haven't mentioned in this video, please drop in the comment section, and I'll make sure to make a follow-up video, reply to you guys in the comments, and rebut that to the best of my ability. I've heard this many times, but college works for some people. For some, well, what do you mean by some? Do you mean one person? Because if it works for just one person, you can say it works for some people. It should be that college works for the overwhelming majority of people. For most people, more than 70% of people, actually for the prices of, let's say, Pace University, tuition is, oh my God, it's around $51,000. And so you spend $200,000 for the time that you're there. Oh, $60,000 for Harvard. It should pretty much be everybody that goes there. And in the event that not everybody that went to the college and graduated gets a job in their field of study, then you should just return those people their money. I mean, I know you guys have enough money to, I know if it's just like a small percentage of people, like, oh, maybe like 3 to 5% of people that didn't get the job after graduating from college with a degree and everything, you'd have like enough money to return to those people. So, I mean, even for those people that colleges worked for, again, like, people, they don't tell the whole story. Like, what kind of network access did they come from? What kind of family background did they come from? What kind of luck and timing did they have when they were getting those jobs? So, and those high earners would be outliers, and they don't prove the system is necessarily fair or reliable. They're just extremely lucky people who happen to win in a casino. Same way, like a very small percentage of people go to casino, like hit a jackpot. Same thing, like you get a high paying career right out of college now. It's like hitting a jackpot on the slot machines. Again, I mentioned that point of them only telling part of the story. Someone else might like to say something like, it's an investment, not a gamble. Well, if it's an investment, then why aren't they showing the full set of data, maybe in the orientation, maybe in the time that you're visiting colleges, looking to consider a college for your 4 year career, right? Maybe you graduated from high school and you're doing some research. Why isn't that they aren't showing all the numbers and data sets? And since you're spending more money than you have to go to these colleges, you're taking on student loans that proves it's a gamble, since you aren't even guaranteed a job, and since like over 50% of freshly graduated people are having a hard time finding jobs in their field of study. That proves college is a gamble. Oh, responsibility. Oh yes, my favorite rebuttal. Responsibility is on the students to choose wisely. Yes, responsibility is on the students to do everything. Like, I have been told so many times to work harder, do more. When I was in college, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Like, I've got the Monday morning quarterback so many times throughout all 4 years of my college experience from many staff members, some of them being teachers, some of them just being coaches or counselors. Do more, try harder. Oh, there's something that you didn't do. Oh, go to the office hours. Yes, I tried to go to the office hours, but then the professor didn't even bother to cancel. I called from the time the office hours should have started. I called on every 10th minute to make sure we get the office hours, and I called 6 or 7 times throughout that whole hour, and the professor finally said like, "Oh, I was busy." Like, "Oh," and I said, "Oh, can we do it now?" And then he's like, "Oh no, I'm not available now." And by the next week, because the professors have office hours like once a week or maybe twice a week. But then by the next time that you could have had that office hour, the assignment is due. I remember I remember in computer networking class, like getting 70 on that research paper I did with my group, and thinking like, oh my god, if the professor actually came to the office hour like he promised and gave me the feedback that I wished to get on this research paper, I could have probably scored a 90. But yes, it is always easy to tell someone else to do more when you do almost nothing yourself. Again, we talked about like these youngsters, like they just became adults and they're not even given the complete information while enrolling, right? And the system markets these degrees as near guaranteed job routes. Yes, and I've even had a professor who said that college graduates make $1 million more over their lifetime than high school graduates. And I've tried asking the questions like, what about the student loans? Like, for example, if you have a lot of overhead and you're not able to keep most of the money that you're even making, like even if you got that job in the first place, then it might not even matter versus someone who doesn't earn that much but has almost no overhead. They're able to save more than you overall. And that money could be used for investments, maybe to start a business. Um, I've asked that question. I've also asked, what about the students who don't get a job after graduating? And the professor couldn't even answer those two questions. He just repeated his point again. College graduates make $1 million more over their lifetime than those who just graduated from high school and didn't go to college. And also, let's not forget about the credential inflation. Jobs that were once open to just high school grads now require degrees with no skill change, too. I mean, when I was in high school, there were some people applying to work at a pizzeria, a local bakery, and then those bakeries and pizzerias said that they want college students. And even 3 months later, they didn't find college students. Some of the students in my high school, they applied again 3 months later and got the same response. You know what? To solve that issue, I think like if most of us, like especially those of us in high school, um, choose to boycott colleges altogether, and those of us who already graduated from college choose not to go to grad school, and with a combined effort, since there is more of us than them, I think that we can really make a difference and make the job descriptions and requirements more reasonable and realistic. For more rebuttals, guys, college has value beyond jobs. Really, 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 this has to be the dumbest rebuttal I've ever heard. Because the whole point of spending all that money, borrowing all that money, and you're paying interest on it, I thought the whole point of it was to make more money than you would have made if you didn't go to college and if you didn't borrow all of that money. Isn't that the way that business and personal development works? Like you borrow money for business, you borrow money for real estate, you want to have rental properties, or you even borrow money on margin for stocks. I mean, come on. I thought this is common sense that this should be self-explanatory and shouldn't need any explaining from me or anyone. It's common sense, right? Also, like, so if college is primary, so, you know, even if you're saying college has value beyond jobs, if that is the case, then why is it that college is marketed primarily as job preparation and career acceleration, when it is sold as a ticket to that high-paying job that you couldn't get without a college degree supposedly? Then shouldn't job outcomes matter more? Shouldn't the main focus and priority be on job outcomes? Some people say, oh, you go to college to building character. Yeah, character and I mean, I improved my skills in pain tolerance. But again, that's not the main point. That's not why spend like over $100,000 on the education, $200,000, $250,000. That's not why people spend that much money on education. If you want to build character, you go to an exercise class for much less, especially one that's in the morning. Also, another point that some people like to say is, oh, trade school isn't for everyone. So, this video is not about like telling everyone like, oh, guys, just go to trade school. I mean, I agree, it's not for everyone for sure. So like you can probably work at some restaurant out of high school. You can work at a catering company and build your way up there, or build a career path. Maybe transfer to restaurants, hotels, etc. Like when you start at a catering company. So I can agree, trade school isn't for everyone because you would definitely want to have interest in the field that you're studying. But this whole point isn't trade school versus college. It's not the point of this video. It's a matter of incentives for the colleges to do the right thing and transparency so students have the full story and can make a better informed decision. If a college truly aligned cost with job outcomes, students wouldn't feel forced into uncertain debt. So anyways, guys, I hope I explained my points succinctly on how colleges are like casinos. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe with bell notifications, and share.